fancy car. Said, hey sugar, gonna make you a star.
Letterology of Dorothy Stratton. Lyric by Alan David. Dorothy, Dorothy Stratton, the letters in your name speak for themselves and say it all. DOROTHY STRATTEN. D is for Dairy, Dairy Queen. In high school you worked at the Dairy Queen on East Hastings Street in Vancouver, Canada, for 3 years, from the tender age of 14 till 17 years old. That was in 74 to 77. In 78 you graduated from Centennial High School in nearby Coquitlam. O is for Open, opening doors. A regular coffee-drinking customer of the Dairy Queen by the name of Paul Snyder, who was a controversial wheeler-dealer in the city, saw you as the beauty queen of the dairy and claimed he could open doors for you and get you on in life in the competitive world of show business. Raunchy begins with the letter R. You were sexy and vivacious and alluring and vulnerable, and at a very impressionable age. In fact, even though you were underage, you posed for nude pictures under Paul Snyder's direction. O is the letter to begin operative. You agreed for Paul Snyder to operate as your manager and to be responsible for all operations in promoting you as a glamour model and actress. T is for titillation. Your photographs as a glamour model and wannabe actress were rather titillating, and you stood out from the rest with the attention you attracted from the clients that mattered. H is for Hollywood. You headed for the great heights of the Hollywood Hills, and Paul Snyder was not only your manager, but had also become your husband as well. Hollywood movies you appeared in included Americathon in 1979 and the comedy Skate Town in the same year. Among television appearances were credits for Buck Rogers and Fantasy Island. Y is for Year. Playboy Playmate of the Year. World-famous Hugh Hefner signed you to his Playboy empire, and you became Playboy Playmate of the Month for August 1979, and Playmate of the Year in 1980. However, the latter prestigious title was under tragic circumstances. Shooting begins with the letter S. So sadly, you were shot by your drug-addicted husband and manager, Paul Snyder, when the mighty power of the Playboy empire and Hollywood had taken over control of your glittering career, and you decided you wanted a divorce so that you could marry Peter Bogdanovich, the film director, and appear in his productions. Paul Snyder could never accept the fact of reality that you wanted to move on without him, and so he shot and murdered you after raping you for bondage, sex, and then turned the gun on himself and fired it to commit suicide. T is the letter to begin time. As time goes by, the story of Dorothy Stratton, Miss Hoogstraten, will be told for other generations. R is for Ross. Jonathan Ross, Britain's major television personality and film buff Jonathan Ross, paid tribute to Dorothy in a British documentary about Hollywood. Actress begins with the letter A. The 1981 motion picture titled They All Laughed, in which Dorothy appeared, was released after her death by film director Peter Bogdanovich who she had planned to marry. T is for two. Two films. Dorothy Stratten's murder was depicted in a couple of major movies, one of them starring Jamie Lee Curtis as Dorothy in the 1981 world television production of Death of a Centerfold. The Dorothy Stratton story, which was written by Donald L. Stewart and directed by Gabrielle Beaumont. The other one was Star 80, released in 1983. T is for three. 3 songs. There have been 3 recordings by major artists in tribute to Dorothy. Cover Girl by Prism, which was used in the Star 80 motion picture, The Story of Dorothy Stratton. Miss Hoogstraten by British celebrity actress and singer Lesley Vickerage. And The Best Was Yet to Come from Vancouver's very own Bryan Adams. E is for Earth. Earthly Body. Dorothy's earthly body was interred in the cemetery next to Marilyn Monroe at Westwood Memorial Park, Los Angeles, California, US of A. Her tombstone features a quote from Ernest Hemingway's Farewell to Arms. Amazingly, Hemingway's granddaughter, Mariel Hemingway, portrayed Dorothy in the Bob Fosse film Star 80 in 1983. The tombstone reads, Dorothy Stratton, February 28, 1960 to August the 14th, 1980. If people bring so much courage to this world, the world has to kill them to break them. So of course it kills them. It kills the very good and the very gentle and the very brave impartially. If you are none of these, you can be sure that it will kill you too. But there will be no special hurry. We love you, Dorothy Ruth. N is for name. Dorothy Stratton's real name is Dorothy Ruth Hoogstraten, and she was born to Dutch immigrants Simon and Nellie Hoogstraten at the Salvation Army Hospital in Vancouver, Canada in 1960. Her brother followed with his birth in 61, and her younger sister Louise was born in 1968 and ended up marrying Dorothy's film director lover Peter Bogdanovich in a marriage that lasted 14 years before they decided to go their separate ways. There will be many Hollywood stories of the past and many Hollywood stories of the future, but this one, the story of Dorothy Stratton, Miss Hoogstraten, the world will never forget it. It will live forever. God bless your spirit and your soul, Dorothy Stratton. We love you. Always.
Dorothy Stratton, the world should never forget the story of Miss Hoogstraten. Remember the story of Dorothy Stratton. The world should never forget the story of Miss Hoogstraten. Should live forever. Take a photo, take a look at this girl.